I rise to again present my amendments coming up for a vote, amendments number 1016 and 1017. I've spoken before them on this floor, but I wanted to summarize them for all concerned briefly. Amendment number 1016 is very simple and straightforward, Madam President, but very, very important as well. It says that any bank which has accepted taxpayer TARP dollars can repay those dollars with interest and get out of the program whenever it wants, as long as it meets all the safety and soundness criteria, all the capitalization, all the liquidity criteria that all of the regulators that regulate that bank have on them. Again, Madam President, this is a very basic but important idea. The TARP program was designed to stabilize shaky banks. And so if a bank wants to give back the money with interest, as long as it meets all of the safety and soundness criteria, everyone in sight, it should be able to do that. Now, Madam President, you would think this would be beyond debate. Unfortunately, it isn't. And unfortunately, several folks, starting with the Secretary of the Treasury, Timothy Geithner, are refusing to let this happen. And in fact, the Secretary of the Treasury has been very clear that this isn't up simply to those banks. It's up to their new senior partner, the federal government. It's sort of like when the mob comes in as your partner in a business, you lose complete control and you can't just decide it's time to buy you out. After that happens, no. It's no longer your decision. And as the Wall Street Journal recently reported regarding an interview with the Secretary, quote, indicated that the health of individual banks won't be the sole criteria for whether financial firms will be allowed to repay bailout funds, close quote. Well, what a great brave new world we now live in, where individual private institutions can't set their own course, can't decide their own destiny, can't even give back taxpayer dollars to benefit the taxpayer, to benefit the Treasury with interest, as long as they meet all of the safety and soundness and capitalization and liquidity requirements in sight. There's also a provision in my amendment that says Treasury can't force repayment, buyback of the warrants at a price they name. That, I believe, is completely non-controversial, since a distinguished member of the majority, Senator Jack Reed of Rhode Island, is proposing precisely my same language with regard to warrants. This is an important issue with regard to our free market system and whether we're going to allow it to get back to a private firm-based free market system. And I urge all of my colleagues to support this amendment. And then secondly, Madam President, is my amendment number 1017. This amendment has to do with the Federal Housing Administration, and it simply focuses like a laser beam on the importance of preserving and protecting the fundamental solvency of the FHA. This amendment requires that the first duty of the FHA is to maintain that solvency. And it says that the provisions of this underlying bill or any other existing requirement cause the FHA to be reasonably likely to need a bailout from Congress, which a lot of folks think is imminent. Then the Commissioner shall temporarily suspend that program, which is causing a need for a bailout, and recommend legislation to Congress to fix the situation. Madam President, many observers, including, again, the Wall Street Journal, think that it's a virtual certainty that we're headed toward a crippling blow to the FHA needing a bailout from Congress. Well, rather than rush there and heap more burdens and more requirements and more need for more money on the FHA, which this underlying bill does, perhaps we should put in place some basic protections to protect the solvency of the FHA. And that's what my amendment does very, very clearly.